We're back now for Monday with the Mayor, and we're here with Jasper Mayor Terry Seitz, and we're going to discuss a near and not so dear subject, and that would be scams.
They, as I think we talked about prior to this moment, are prevalent. They're everywhere. I think the old scams used to be someone knocks on your door selling you a product or a service. Certainly, maybe a lot of times we've heard when there be storms, tornadoes, whatever else, that you got to watch for so-called scam artists. But today's scams aren't in your community necessarily. In fact, there's a greater chance they come from outside the community, often through the internet, often through untraceable phone calls, and they really want your personal information, which could do really greater harm than even maybe a bad pour of a sidewalk or bad windows that you put in your home because you've said yes to somebody and then they left town. By all means, do not give out any personal information on the telephone or on the internet without you being assured that it is a legitimate source. And there are some. Certainly, I think you would know that likely if you initiate the call, but make sure and even verify those numbers. Do not assume that you get something in the mail that says call this number, that's legitimate. And personal information runs the gamut from bank accounts to health information, social security numbers, all of that. It's certainly even, I just had a recent experience where I had a new computer. And I downloaded what I thought was a legitimate version of Mozilla Firefox in my browser. I thought my computer was a slot machine. It was all the spyware, spamware was just going off, and I had inadvertently gone to a website that looked legitimate and downloaded a software which I've used for years, and literally had to have everything removed from a brand new computer that was less than an hour old. And so that's an online scam too. That was something that took over my computer. If I had kept using that, I would have then, of course, opened myself up with passwords and things like that. So our advice from the Jasper Police Department, passed on through me as mayor, is to be very cognizant of what you do. Be aware of that with electronic devices. There are other ways to also steal your information. I think the best bet, sometimes I think we're just using cash, but I know that's not always possible for me or anyone. But ultimately, again, be aware of anything that comes in through your phone, through your computer, or even out and about. Watch for, of course, the people maybe too close to you at the checkout line that may be able to look over your shoulder, and if you're using a debit card and entering your PIN number or something like that. Last Friday, I thought we really went to extreme in the city of Jasper. We had I was alerted to a police call by Police Chief Mike Bennett. He said, "Mayor, this really sounds either one, not very good, or two, it came in through a Skype, which is an online communication system around the world. People use it to communicate with relatives visually and audibly." And he goes, "A call came in rather strange, but it was a report of a shooting." It turned out to be, again, a hoax, a scam operated by someone out of the country who had threatened the family here in Jasper and said that they would make a call saying that there is a disturbance at their home. They did that through our dispatch. Not only was that bad enough, and optically I'm not sure that we could find them or even prosecute them if we did, but I kind of look at the fact of the impact on that family of a mother and 4 children of having literally a police call of that nature, of emergent nature, that happened in their home. Something that we had to do, something that no one would prefer to do, but ultimately, what if it was a home that maybe was not as friendly, or perhaps someone who was really thought that someone was out to get them, for other reasons, and then we have a police call that neither one of us are wrong. The police are there because of a 911 call, but the person at the house was not as welcoming or concerned, and that's bad on them. It's not really their fault either. Those things could just sprout up, and we've never even thought of those applications before recent times. So be aware. Personally, just know that there's things out there that could happen. Please understand that our police departments will respond appropriately in those circumstances, but we'll always try to secure and understand that everything is safe and sound before something happens. So financially, you name it, it's really a strange world.
Absolutely. I can share the experience having had issues with a computer of my own. the online malware and so forth.
Very true. Yeah, it could occur anything. And once that's in your system, in your computer, you don't even know again what the computer is being used for and if it could be operated. So there are unfortunately, Bradford, in Jasper, we've been inundated by fraudulent people from around the globe, and I think we're not the only ones. It's just a good time to start out the year, be very aware of these things.
Absolutely. So moving to a bit of a, I guess, happier subject as we wrap up, the idea of finishing up this TIF district.
That is correct. We have a public hearing and a regular meeting to follow of the Redevelopment Commission on Tuesday evening. That public hearing will start at 6 o'clock here at City Hall. It is normally a meeting that's held at 8 o'clock in the morning, but because of the Tax Increment Finance District discussion and hearing, the Redevelopment Commission moved that meeting to an evening meeting, and that's fine. It is part of our process and continues our process of a very thorough public input. Of course, it's a four-part process to establishing a TIF district. The Redevelopment Commission starts it, the Plan Commission receives it, the Council receives it, then it goes back to redevelopment, preceded by a public hearing. We've had unanimous passage of this instrument all along the way, and we're very grateful for that. And ultimately, we believe this is the right thing to do. It's been directed for us to pursue and look into these in our 2010 comprehensive plan, and we're very happy to do so. It's a good place. I think it's a phenomenal tool that has been made available to us by Indiana code. It's Indiana law that you can do this, and it's something I think Jasper needs to employ. And again, I'd like to commend the Redevelopment Commission for being very patient in its approach. Really, they built off that 2010 plan. They've been working on this since April of 2014, and here we are 9 months later before it actually comes up for a final vote. And I think they've done a great job.
So as a wrap-up, I can safely presume then this will open the door to other options going forward?
Well, we know the state has enabled these tools at the tax phase-in, or what people call abatement, and the TIF. They are in state code. What other things are out there, when we looked at the shovel-ready site and all those things, this is part of our economic development and redevelopment approach. I believe also formally we know that we want to move some parts of our projects that were identified in our master plan along. We await in the first quarter here, we hope to hear whether the Miller Valentine has received authority to proceed with their state tax credit program and workforce housing at the Jofco building. It's out of our hands. I think we've done a great job, and I hope we can go ahead and accomplish that as well. It looks like a great 2015.
Absolutely. Well, the new year begins. Thank you once again, Mayor.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's been Monday with the Mayor. We're back after this.